Okay. I came like in my covered patio area. It is so beautiful outside. It's going to rain soon. Um, so she started rattling off codes that I was like, oh, well, I actually know what that code is. And it's, has to be like passive movement and has to have a measurable improvement, which range of motion and like the degrees that each joint can move is a very measurable category of improvement. So, like, Sean should be able, even as a quadriplegic, he should be able to do this when we move his arm. His arm can't go past like here. His thumb, I think it is like permanently like bent like this, like no matter what. His feet are completely dropped. His hips don't move very much. Like his arm, like, you know how your arm can go like back here and then even back more? His arm can't do that. Like he can't move his arm like even like in line, like straight, because nobody's moved him. He's been laying in a bed. So I was like, those are all measurable changes that can be documented and, you know, billed to insurance. And she just got super defensive and had to leave the call. And that's kind of how we left it. And so then we had a call with insurance. I'm sorry, with his case, not the case manager, the medical director, Louis, and pharmacy, because he was due for some more doses and they didn't have it yet. And so my mom's like, can we call the pharmacy and see what's going on? So we called the pharmacy, Louis did, and the pharmacist is like, yeah, it's on order. It looks like it'll be there tonight. So that means he missed 2 doses that day, the 6 a.m. and the 2 p.m. And so Louis tried saying, he's like, oh, well, sometimes the half-life inside of the prescription is long enough where even if you miss a dose, the medication is still in the body, so that way you're still getting the benefits. I don't like this angle. I don't know. So that way you're still getting all the benefits. So he asked the pharmacist, she's like, you know, I'm not sure. Let me look into that. She came back on the line and she said the half-life is 2 hours. That 2 hours after the dose is given, it has remained in your body. And so I'm sure he saw a ghost because, oh shit. And then he had the nerve to ask, well, what if we just extend his stay 2 days to make up some of the missed doses he's had? Me and my mom were like, absolutely not. Like, we are not keeping him here an ounce longer than he needs to be. So I told my mom, get a record of all of the medication doses when he leaves. Like, when he gets discharged, tell them you want a copy of each dose that was given. And he still has the Stinson, by the way. Still has the Stinson. So he, from there, comes home. And he's home a day and maybe a day and a half. And this whole thing happens again with like his oxygen dropping. This time, thankfully, the nursing manager for like the home health was at the house with my mom. And she kind of helped mom and like bagged him and like kind of, you know, got my mom calm, got into the ER and all that jazz. Still has the stints in. So the issue with the stints that were supposed to be taken out in December, it's now March. They're temporary. They're not supposed to be in long. Like, they're not designed to be in the body long. Dr. Camacho put them in. So Dr., or not even a doctor, he's a physician's assistant. So I don't know if you call him doctor, but Robinson at Ocotillo said, oh, well, he's not my patient, so I can't take them out. You need to contact his urologist. Well, he doesn't really have a urologist because he's always been in nursing homes and like used their staff. But he had one, I guess, like a year and a half ago, Dr. Alexander. So contacted Dr. Alexander. No, he hasn't been a patient of mine in over a year. He's not even considered like an active patient. Have the person who put them in take them out. My mom then calls St. Joe's again, and Dr. Camacho was like literally run around. 3 providers, 3 medical providers who are urologists, all passed off the buck with Sean, with taking these off. Finally, after about a month of my mom screaming at everybody and like losing her mind, rightfully so, Dr. Alexander's office called and said, okay, Dr. Alexander said he will see him, but he needs to come in for a whole patient appointment, like a whole new patient appointment. It just so happened my brother needed to get the suprapube catheter balloon changed out as well. So we kind of did that all at once in the appointment. What really sucks, and I don't know if I could upload pictures or how, I'm not like tech savvy. This is not going to be like fancy edited. I'm just going to like put them all together. But Allegiant, when they sent him to Dr. Alexander's for the catheter change and all that, he wore a hospital gown. The AMR, which is ambulance service, came and picked him up on a stretcher, like a gurney, hooked up his ventilator, all that jazz. They had like the bed sheet from the nursing home. They just like picked him up from that and put him on the gurney and then just like strapped him to the gurney and wheeled him off. This is like a high-end, fancy, upscale North Scottsdale doctor's office, like very high-end plastic surgeons in there, like very fancy people are here. And my brother, a 44-year-old man, is laying on a stretcher with his hair greasy because, I forgot to add, in the 5.5 weeks he was at Allegiant, he got 3 showers. 3. He's supposed to get 2 a week, which that alone is disgusting, especially someone who's just laying in bed all day, like with their arms like this, like brewing sweat. But he got 3 whole showers. So he was looking gross, greasy, all that jazz. And he's sitting there in a stretcher in the waiting room of this doctor's office. So we get that all sorted. So he has surgery scheduled for March 10th. Great. I'm starting to take over a lot of things for my brother in terms of the medical, like calling all these offices, calling attorneys, figuring out what we're doing, talking to insurance. Just because my mom's going to have a heart attack. She can't do this. So all that sorted. So after he goes back, so he's been at the hospital a week now, maybe? February 28th. I think he was discharged home. I think he was home 2 days. So I think like March 1st, he got sent to the hospital. So he's been there since in ICU. And again, Dr. Robinson or PA Robinson, whatever, signed off on my brother. My brother got there the 1st or the 3rd, 2nd. I don't know. He got there on a Monday. By Wednesday, the provider signed off on him and said, from a urologist standpoint, he's good to go. So I talked to the nurses there and I was like, listen, he's got surgery on the 5th or on the 10th to get the stents out. They were supposed to come out in December. It's now way past that. And now, on top of blood in his urine and having fevers and all these infections and having kidney stones still in there, he's got bladder stones now. And he has a yeast growing in his urine. Never happened the whole time this injury's been going on. So that's where we're at. So it's just super frustrating to deal with all of this. But that's kind of like a catch up of things. You know, I went back to last April just because I wanted to kind of fill you guys in on the whole stint issue of the kidneys and how he's got kidney stones and he's had them since last April. How long he's had them, we don't know. But unfortunately, Sean will not be going back to my mom's. It is just too much for my mom. She's 71 years old. Her husband is 84. And physically, it's too much. Mentally, it's a lot. The nursing agencies that we were working with guaranteed us, oh yes, when you bring him home, it'll be so great. They're going to be there from 8 to 4. You'll be able to do whatever you want when they're there. Well, that's not true because all the nurses that we had, I think 3 or 4 different ones. None of them could do anything on their own. And I talked to people at the agency, Maxim, I think it was, Maxim Healthcare or something. And they were like, oh, no, they should be able to, like, they're trained to. They should be able to, like, get the sling under him, roll his body, They should be able to do all that on their own. This time with the nurses there is supposed to be for your mother to have her free time. Okay, well, that never happened. So, like, that sucks because now my mom is trapped in her house 24/7. If Sean's there, she has to be there because she has to be able to suction him if there's not a nurse there. And if there's a nurse there, he wants to get up in his chair and get outside, or if he soils himself, the lady can't clean him herself. So my mom couldn't go anywhere. So that was really hard on her. The last time he was home, Bernie and my mom were changing Sean, and Bernie got lightheaded and had to like sit down. He almost passed out. He's 84. He shouldn't be lifting a 190-pound boy, or not lifting, but like rolling a 190-pound, man. It's just a lot for mom, and she can't do it. So we don't know what's going to happen. He's at the hospital again. He has to go 48 hours without a fever before they'll even consider transferring him, which he hasn't done yet, thank gosh, because we don't want him to get transferred just yet. I spoke with a admissions person at a spinal cord facility in the Los Angeles area called Los Ranchos Amigos. They are like one of the, I think there's 12, they call them like model systems, where they like exceptionally excel in patient rehab with spinal cord injuries. The problem, they don't take Arizona long-term mercy care because it's an Arizona state policy. It can only be used in Arizona. It can't be used anywhere else. Thankfully, he goes on Medicare starting April 1st because it is the month after your injury date. So his injury date is March 20th, will be 2 years. And so it starts the 25th month. So it'll start April 1st. And they do accept Medicare. So I am just praying that we can get him to an LTAC here in Phoenix. There's one called Promise. My mom and I already toured it last year. We like it. It's great. Like it's, a facility. It's not like 5-star, but the ratios are great. They have their own ICU in-house. They can do everything but any heart-related issues. But if he, starts losing oxygen or gets a really bad infection, blood in his urine, kind of any of that, like they can tackle that in their ICU. And they're also known to help people wean, which we want him to try to do. And then that would be a 30-day stay. So that would hopefully, put us into April. And then hopefully we can transition him from there to Los Ranchos. If he does go to Los Ranchos, which like fingers crossed it would be the absolute ultimate dream, then he will go back to our moms because they will give mom training on how to take care of him. He'll get more hours through Medicare. And I think they can supplement some of them with Medicaid. I can't talk because they'll still have Medicaid as like a fallback. Plus, we'll pay for some. We tried paying for some before, and they're all like $25, $28 an hour for just a CNA who can't do any of the like actual medical stuff. I was like, Mom, at that rate, like we just go with a staffing agency that hires out nurses who know how to do this stuff and pay $37 an hour, which is outrageous. And Sean only gets like $2,500, $2,700 a month. But if we have to use all of it to cover nursing to get him home, then that's fine. But she already knows, he already knows, like kind of we're all on the same page. If he gets accepted into Los Ranchos and he completes the program, my mom will go out there and she will spend the duration of his stay at the rehab with him. There's a hotel across the street for $10 a day. Family can rent the room and stay there the entire stay. And they will partake in certain trainings and rehab work with my brother. The only issue I see is he needs to be able to withstand like 3 to 5 hours of therapy a day. And I don't know that he can because he hasn't been in a seated position or like anything or done anything in 2 years. Like he hasn't done anything extenuating. Like this type of facility, like they have the bikes where they can like strap his hands in and strap his feet in and like push a setting, and it will move his body for him in the motion of a standard, stationary bike, but like get his body loose. If he does get accepted into there, I talked to Sean about doing a colostomy. He does not want to do one. He kind of thinks that, if he walks again, he won't want one, which I get it. I wouldn't either if I didn't need one, but he's not going to walk again, but he might, move something again or be functioning again. And a colostomy would really help in terms of his care at home for mom because she's not going to have to roll him side to side to clean him. We're not going to have to worry if he, for some reason, does get a pressure sore that opens up for whatever reason. We don't have to worry about fecal matter getting into it, creating a bigger infection. So these are kind of our hopes, dreams. Hopefully they're not crushed. But the medical system sucks. Like, it's all about money. And if they cut Medicare or Medicaid anymore, I hope it's not this division that he falls under, because we won't be able to afford anything for him. Yeah, the bed that they gave us that we get to keep, which is crazy, we get to keep it, was 30 grand. It's like some sort of like Joplin Dolphin something bed. It was a $30,000 bed. And they're like, oh, you keep it. His insurance paid for it. His insurance is going to pay for a $30,000 bed, but will not provide more than 40 hours a week of care at home. Does that even make sense? Absolutely not. So I don't know, but that is kind of the update on Sean. My mom will be home this summer for 2 weeks in August. I will be home for 1 week in August. I'll be home in July for 2 weeks. But we will be doing a benefit again in August for everybody, hoping to kind of sort that out sooner than later. It'll be around the fair, the like kind of first week of the fair, because that's when I always come home, and Harlow loves the fair. London will not be there. We have not seen or spoken to London since not this past October, but the October before that. So London will not be there, but me and my mom will be there. So everyone wants to come hang out. And if any family wants to come visit, my mom would greatly appreciate it. One thing she said to me this whole entire time, like the last 2 years, is like, I just wish we had more family. This is a lot for just us two to take on. And it is. And I'm doing the best I can. Thank gosh for Lexapro, because I don't know that I would be able to like help my mom as much as she's needed the past 2 years. But yeah, so I'm going to splice all this together, create a YouTube account because I don't have one, post it, and then hopefully start sharing it. And like, hopefully you guys can start spreading the word. I'd like to get shirts made for Sean again for his birthday this year, in May. Some sort of Sean Strong. I was thinking like something like Still Sean Strong, or Forever Sean Strong, or I don't know, something along those lines. So if anyone has any ideas for shirts, let me know. Also, please share this video to other people, and like, maybe we can get the word out about how shitty insurance is. Because this is like the care that he's gotten the whole time. And it sucks. And it puts him in a really bad mental space too. And he was already doing really bad when he got hit by a car. And from then on, it's just been completely downhill. And there's been like no reprieve to get any like positive, drive. So thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.